Good morning, everyone. I'm Bagger Don at Stock Market Caddy, and today is, I had to think for a minute, Tuesday or Wednesday? Where are we here? Man, it feels like a Tuesday to me. It's Wednesday, Wednesday, up early, August 6th at about 11 a.m. And the Bulls are not going quietly, are they? No, they're not. But we'll see. We'll see where we want to close. But at the moment, they're still pouring in. We're running a program in the background, and we've been running it overnight. And so you'll be able to see the positions going in. But we are tracking the performance for ourselves, for our members, and so we're going to just leave it at that for right now. I kind of like what it's doing, but you'll be able to get it tracked. The last order that went in is 5 micros, by the way, which is what you're seeing up there. 5 micros, and had a rundown of 232 on that trade, and currently at 570. So by virtue of this YouTube session, you'll get a chance to see, maybe you can write it down on paper. I wouldn't suggest that anybody be trying to mimic or trades or shadow trades. I don't think there's anything to be gained from that. Really don't. I mean, you may pick off a trade or two, but in the long term, that's not what you want, I wouldn't think. What you might want is, let's put this little guy back to a 5 minute. Sorry about that. The 5 minute VIX at 9:10 at 10 past 9 goes short. Okay. So that might give you a bias with our members that the market might want to go long. We're talking intraday. This is, very, very finite, or not finite. There's such a word. There's no such word as finite. Finite, very, very small, right? Very small. The 5 minute ES 1045, you'd be up 600. The NQ went long before that at 835. $3,000, $2,800 on one mini. One micro would be 280. 5 would be a bunch. We're not trading swing machine, by the way, but we keep it up there. And if you had 10 minis in there, 28 grand. You could take a couple of days off maybe for that. And you can see what the others are doing. If you have any questions on who we are, what we're about, don't hesitate. I've got my nose in the development corner of TradeStation. We're constantly trading ourselves, multiple accounts, multiple markets, not just futures, but also options. We're also conducting Q schools, and we're also developing and amending, new existing programs. So we keep a full plate, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Happy to plug in any market on Swing Machine if you have a stock or a market on an interval of your choosing. Let me know. I'm happy to do that. And I encourage you, the reason why we pop up like this is we're not suggesting that everyone do this. We're not. It isn't. This is not for everyone. No. Nope. You got to be a rare bird. This got to be something you really, really want to do. And you have the time, you have the capital, you have the discipline, you have the patience. But again, passion. You got this. Got to be something you want to do. And if it is, visit stockmarketcaddy.com, write down your questions, and feel free to give me a call if you still have questions. We'll wish everyone the best. We'll be here. For purposes of YouTube, this position is currently long. You can see that by the plus sign. And so we'll call that, trade number one, right? You might want to jot it down if you're keeping score at home or something, and want to say, might I have done? What might Don be actually doing, right? So, feel free. And, now maybe if you had taken this trade, maybe you would take the $600. Maybe you'd let it run. We're going to let it run, and we'll see. I don't know. We're going to be with you on YouTube probably up until about 1 o'clock. I don't know how many trades there'll be. This might be the only one. Might run up to 2 grand. I have no idea. We never do. We never do know for sure how high or how low, but we can put parameters in there, right? We can, and we can put other tools in there, and in this program, we'll hopefully pick it up. Enjoy. Good late morning to everybody. I'm Bagadon. This is Stock Market Caddy. You are watching Swing Machine do its thing, and we're not trading Swing Machine at the moment, at least not in this view. But we certainly have members that are. We could be, right? We could be, and but we're trading something else. And we're letting you watch. That's the last position it went into is up here. It's trading 5 micros. It is trading it completely robotic. I didn't make the decision to go in. I'm not making the decision to go out. And we're always in strategy development mode as well. And but Swing Machine, let's just take a look at what Swing has done. The VIX 5 minute at 9:10 starts to turn down. So that is a bet that the options market is not fearful, and the options market is highly leveraged. So you might, considering that, if that bitch is turning down, you might want to be leaning right here, right now, on the long side. Now the last 5 minute long, 10:45, there could have been others, but 10:45, you'd be up $1,000 with a mini, $100 with a micro. 10 minis, 10 grand. At 8:35, the NQ goes long. Now you didn't have the VIX, so you may have waited, right? You may have. But if you went around 9:10, you'd probably have a good bulk of that. But right now, if we have a member that took that, and we most certainly do, you can bet on it. They're up $3,300. 3,300. 330 with a micro. If they got 10 minis on it, they got 35 grand. They can probably take a couple of days off. And they will. They will. 11:30, the Dow is trying to go long. The Russell is actually short from 4:30 this morning. Gold long from 8:55, and we do track Bitcoin down here, but Bitcoin is obscene leverage. This is a 5-pack Bitcoin. You'd want to be trading the micro if you want to trade it at all. But it is what it is. So we do put it there because there is some interest in what the coin is doing. This particular trade went off a little bit before 11, just before we came on, and had a drawdown of 232. Has had a run up of 918. It's at 882. Maybe you would take it. Maybe it doesn't. That would be up to you. And if it changes direction, I'll comment. How you'll know it changes direction is the plus sign that's in front of it indicates that it is long. And again, it's not using Swing Machine. It was a different program, so we have multiple screens, and these screens are running different things, doing different stuff. The asterisk after the 25 means that I got to sneeze. Sorry about that. I'm wearing a mask. Kidding. Kidding. I don't want to offend anyone's sensibilities, but those masks that that they were all wearing and stuff is totally worthless, right? I was wearing a surgical mask for 25 years before they were fashionable, and those things, they can only get down to a certain, even the the 3M mask only get down to a certain level, and if you took, and you can Google this, but they say that if you took all the COVID virus, the entire COVID virus that existed in the world, I think you were able to pack it all together, it wouldn't fit into a Coke can, or it would fit into a Coke can. Pretty small shit. So they're pretty worthless. But I digress. We'll let you watch. Any questions, we invite you to visit Stock Market Caddy. And if you're interested in beginning to move your trading, now, you've got to be, and I just be mindful of this because we have folks that are coming in and coming at this at all different levels. And so I'm just going to make you aware. There are macro trading programs, macro trading at a monthly level, right? And a monthly investor, a macro trader, he's not interested in what's happening right here, right now. He shouldn't be, or she, or on a daily or on a weekly. They should only be concerned with the monthly. Macro. The mini investor might be the weekly, right? I'm actually thinking about kind of grouping up our nightly videos in this context because the weekly trader, he shouldn't be, or she shouldn't be paying attention to the daily view. Certainly not the intraday. The micro trader might be the daily trader, micro, right? And they really shouldn't be paying attention but to the closes, not to the intraday. Intraday might be the nano trader. Nano, right? The nice thing about the nano trader is we don't really give a shit what's going on with the monthly guy, or the weekly guy, or even for that matter, the daily guy. I don't really give a shit. You can believe all the macro crap you want to believe. I don't really care. I'm just here, right now, trying to get out what I want. So we refer to that as resolution, like trading resolution. And you can use our tools on any resolution you want. That'll be up to you. But you've got to be psychologically, financially, in every other way prepared to handle that. And one of the biggest things is, of course, the further out you go, the bigger you go, you probably want to use less leverage because you got to be extremely patient. So let me give you, for instance, let's go to the NQ. And let's put the NQ on a monthly. So if you had bought the NQ as a macro trader, you would have done that 187 months ago, back in February of 2010. Yep. And if you still had the mini on and just kept rolling it, yeah, you'd be up about 381,000. You had 10 of them, 10 of them. Now you'd be up 3.8 million. Macro. Let's put it on a weekly. Let's take a look now. Now we drop in. 12 weeks ago, 42 grand. Now let's drop it to a daily. 66 days ago, 57 grand. Right? Still motoring. And then of course we drop it intra nano. I'm Bag of Dawn. This is Stock Market Caddy. Let us know if you have any questions. Let us know if you want us to plug in any one of your stocks or markets, and we're happy to do that. But you've got to, so what we'll try to do during the course of Q School, which we have folks in now, is to make them aware of markets, make them aware of choices, make them aware of products, and make them aware of the many things that they can do, right? You want to learn about that in advance before you start pushing too much money around, because you don't want to learn about it after the fact. Okay, everyone. For the folks who, let's take a peek. Wait a second. Wait a second. Now it did. It hit a profit target, but it actually. Let me go take a peek here. I don't particularly like that. She hit a profit target and then repeated the order. Okay, so I'm not particularly on this particular strategy doing that. So that is something that we could code out of it. That's interesting. That's why we do this, folks. But she went right back in. I really kind of wouldn't want that, but I'm gonna let it play out here. Look at Swing Machine just roaring through. It's incredible, folks. It just is. And if you find yourself asking why, I get it. Just understand that's the rational side of your brain, and none of this is rational. I mean, it is at its most basic form. It's money, but otherwise, it's not rational. It just is. It's a beautiful thing, though, when you accept it for what it is. It's liberating. Hey, Frederick, how are you? You doing okay, buddy? I just stepped away for a moment. Yep, we're doing very good, Frederick. I'm going to be doing better when the summer's over, though. It's been hot as blazes, man. I mean, we have had some incredible heat index numbers in Tampa. So, August, we got to get through August, and then well, it'll stay with us. I hate to say until October, but it'll start. It's starting to cool off maybe a little bit, right? The heat index. We had a heat index number. I think it was last week. Yeah, I think it was last week of 120. That's unheard of for us. That's ridiculous. Then we had a couple of 118s, 115. So it has that part of it has backed down. So but I love the fall, and so we're doing well. I hope things are good for you. Let us know anything you need, and we are working on a number of things as we always are. So you let me know. This what's running up there, Frederick, is HFT2. Running HFT2. I'm revisiting HFT2, and we're running it on point and figure. But I also ran it with a profit target. So she hit the profit target and then she repeated into it. And I'm going to take a peek at some of that. And so we're revisiting some concepts around HFT2. I'll keep you posted. But that's what's running. Yeah, no problem at all. No problem. Again, let's just take a look. We'll mark this up here together. We're not running Swing Machine. Maybe we should have been, right? As we usually say, right? But we're always doing a number of things. So let's just mark this up a little bit here. And I was out of pocket much of yesterday, and but let's take a look at this is the VIX, and she goes short today at 9:10. At 9:10. So if you have this on your desktop and you're watching it, if the VIX starts trending down, and that is a bet on the options market that the bastards are going to be buying. That's basically what it means in the options market. And we do think that it is the options market that is driving the price action day in and day out, intraday. Highly, highly leveraged, and and they're not as quick, right? So we can trade around it using futures. So that would be the indication at 9:10. Now, when we look at the ES, we can deduce. Let me go here. Now it's possible. I don't know what the earlier. I'd have to put it on a chart to see it. But on the 5 minute, it goes long at 10:45. So there could have been a trade or two in here. We got a trade counter. I won't put it on, but if you took the 10:45, that's how much you'd be up. You would be up with a mini. If you did it with a micro, you're up 130. If you did it with 10 minis, you're up 13 grand. Let's take a look at the, excuse me, I had a frog in my throat. Hold on. Sorry about that. We look at the NQ, the crazy aunt in the basement. Oh, I'm sorry. The NQ goes along on a 5 minute level at what time? At 8:35. So that would have been before. And maybe you waited. Maybe you did. Or maybe you didn't use the full mini. Or, you throttled back. But at 9:10, you would have been profitable, most likely. And you would have got the confirmation, yeah, they got to run it. In fact, when we first commented on it, I think it was only up like 2 grand. Now it's up like 4 grand. It's absurd, right? I get it. It is. It just is. Now the Dow is the Dow, and I don't. We keep it here, but it's rather staid. It doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, it will trend. Susie likes to trade it. I don't usually, but it's gone. And then the Russell is short from 4:30 this morning. You would be up 740, but she's ripping against it, and she's trying to go along. So it tells us that there's still very much an appetite for risk. And then, of course, we look at, gold, and she's long. And silver, it's long. Everybody's buying, except they're not buying oil. They're selling oil. Okay. So your job, our job, is to take the macro picture, the macro shit, and just park it, man. Just there's a place for macro. There absolutely is. I like discussing macro, just not every day, right? Who cares? But it is interesting. We're around the markets. Why not, right? And by the way, I didn't put on Bitcoin, but they started buying Bitcoin at 114,745. Highly big leverage here. You could use micros though if you wanted to trade it. So again, we're talking earlier about resolution, macro, monthly. Maybe I use these terms too. I might. We want to kind of regroup the nightly video, and we do that periodically. I think I'll do this, and so we'll report weekly on the macro. On the mini would be what we're calling it. The mini would be really the weekly. The daily would be the micro. Intraday is like nano. I mean, it's really small, which is just fine. So the macro people don't want to be paying attention to what we're doing. And what we're doing, we don't want to be paying attention to the macro. So we just let them go, let them have fun. They're having a blast. They do, there's a place for both. You don't have to be all one, all the other. You don't. Absolutely don't. That makes sense? All right, so I'm going to erase this. We're having fun here today and just doing our thing. So the first trade that you saw up here, the machine pocketed $1,000, and then it went right back in it. And I'm going to revisit the code on that first opportunity I got. I made a note, and I might like to see if I can. I may or may not want to code that out. We'll see. I may want to. We can force some of these programs to alternate trades. We can do just about anything that you can dream of. And now, whether or not it has merit or not is another question. But that's where we spend the bulk of our time, is in that development center. And everyone else, I think, from what I see online, they're staring at charts and lines and moving averages and stochastics and trying to predict. We're just managing the flow. We're just managing the flow. Um, another way of thinking about this too. We were up in North Carolina. We were hiking along some rivers, and I can't help but equate sometimes. And the river's flowing, right? It's flowing. In some places, it's flowing really, really fast, and in other places, it's like really, really slow. And sometimes, the river is flowing presumably down, but sometimes the river can like turn around, like and appear to be flowing uphill. It really isn't, but it's kind of going the other way, and then it resumes the other way. So the market to me is just like a river of money. It's just a river, and we got to get in, take a dip, and get on out safely. And you don't have to traverse the whole thing. Just got to get our chunk, and if it's $1,000 a day or $500 a day, it will accumulate. Let us know if we can answer any questions for you. Good afternoon, everybody. So, again, thank you for stopping by. Frederick, good to see you. At 1 o'clock, we will need to turn down. We basically have had one trade in full view, right, that ran up $1,000 and the machine took it. And it, at the moment, it repeated the trade, went back in. We had a $2 drawdown. This is 5 micros, and we're currently up, 45, kind of bouncing around up in here. We're going to continue to do our thing. I suggest you continue to do your thing. But if you're getting it done, keep doing it. But if you're not getting it done, visit Stock Market Caddy. See what you see. See what you think. And for those that want to be macro investors, macro, mini, micro, even micro, swing traders, the service that you'd probably be most interested in is our nightly service, a monthly, or our monthly membership, where you get to see a video view of all the markets in all those time frames. If you want to be an intraday, a nano trader, intra, then you want to be an annual member, because you need these tools on your desktop. You don't have enough time to be responding to email alerts and text messages from some service. That's way too freaking slow. And you probably want to be, getting automated. Now, a lot of brokerages won't let you do it and probably never will. TradeStation does. The reason why we're at TradeStation is some of the programs they have. Well, one is the easy language they have, and radar screen, and they have other things that others don't have. There are other, what I call kind of like TradeStation knockoffs, but it's kind of like a plug and play. You script this, script that, throw this together, throw that together. If that's working for you, good. But that's not what we do. We're writing original code, and it's very, very empowering. And we were reluctant in the early 2000s to go there because we knew the learning curve, and it was a lot. You don't have to be a coder. We'll do a lot of the coding. We'll do it all, actually. So you don't have to be a coder, and so you get the education, then you get all the tools that we have, and there'll be more. We're constantly adding, but you would, as an annual member, need to have TradeStation. Now, we have no affiliation with TradeStation other than being an extremely happy customer, right? And we do think, that it is what I would call a surgical tool. It's extremely good, very sophisticated, and probably used by a lot of hedge funds as well. And it's available to you, so. And we can certainly, they have awesome support, awesome tutorials as well. And but we can also help to expedite your learning curve on it too. And you'll help ours as well. One of the things that's happened during or from Q Schools is something that I didn't anticipate. I thought all the information was going to be flowing out to our members. We get a lot of information back. We get a lot of insight. We get a lot of experience. We get a lot of questions. We get a lot of requests. So it makes us all better. I didn't anticipate that in the beginning. I thought it was all going to be going one way. And it isn't. So it's really, really good. So we're always going to be, Susie and I will always be trading, because we love to do it, and we'll always have Stock Market Caddy, and because we love to do it. It's just a hoot. It is a blast. It's a lot of fun. And so again, if you're getting it done, keep doing it. If you're not, stop, think, look, listen. Be sure to visit, because we're doing something that nobody else is doing. I see what's available. I see what's out there. And we sometimes get folks will say that, well, you don't make any claims, you don't make any promises or anything. And I don't. I don't. It's learn to trade your game. It is. And and some people are ready for that, want to do that, and probably most aren't. And sometimes we'll get questions like, "Well, how come you don't have an alert service?" You know, you could build the alerts, right? We have alerts, but I don't want to retard your learning curve. If you want to have the NQ when this confirms long send you a text message on whatever interval, you can do that. Teach you how to do that. You can do it yourself. So you build your own alerts. But if you want to subscribe to somebody that's just, dishing out alert services, oh, that's okay. Um, I don't know. If you're learning something, great. If you're not sure how good that'll be. All right. So at 1 o'clock, this will abruptly end, but not that abruptly because I'm letting you know. We'll come. We'll have to stop. Um, but we'll still be here. I'll try to punch up middle part of each day. I'm going to try. And as we get into the fall, that might be a little more difficult because the fall is like the busiest time of the year for us. Um, Everyone's coming back from vacation. So be thinking about that, right? And Q schools, for the last 5 years now, 4 to 5 years, our Q schools have come. We hit a saturation where we can't do any more, and it's usually around the beginning of November, and then we pause until January, then we restart, and we're on pace to do that again. So you don't want to wait. Get your spot, get slotted. If you go through a Q school, you're guaranteed an opportunity to become an annual member, right? But if you wait and think like, oh, I'm going to do it at Christmas time, chances are you're going to probably have to wait till January. Just letting you know. And we can only grow so fast. We'll be here, and let us know if we can help you in any way. Thanks for stopping in. And again, at 1 o'clock, the broadcast will need to close because we need our resources. Thanks. Thank you. For the record here, just to print this, the earlier trade, you saw it go in just after, but you saw it run up from about 2 to 300 up to 1,000. The machine took a profit, $1,000. This is the second trade. She went right in. I'm not sure that I'm going to have that do that, but we'll revisit that. And this has had 280. So to put yourself, that's trading 5 micros. 5 micros. 2 trades. I didn't have to hunt and peck. I didn't have to look around. I didn't have to consider any macro anything. 2 trades. Let's, if we call it 1,300, but let's say it's 1,000. Let's say it's just 500 a day. 500. Um, Michael's asking a question. I'll ask. 500. There are 24 trading days. Um, 24 trading days in a month. If you take Fridays off, which we suggest you do, now you're down to 5, right? 20. $500 a day, if you're netting, 500 is $10,000 a month. But you've got to be properly sized. You've got to learn to properly size yourself. So everyone wants to focus on the profit. So I'm going to say, and hear me out on this, if your goal is to make $500 a day, right, can you afford to lose $500 a day? Right? You have to be prepared. You've got to be trading proportionate. So if your goal is to make 500, you have to be prepared that you may potentially lose $500 a day. It may not be every day. You don't want it to be every day, right? But you got to be prepared for that. So to make the numbers bigger and smaller. So for instance, we'll have folks say, well, I want to make, $10,000 a month. So I want to make $1,000 a day, Don. I'm like, okay, admirable, good. But can you afford to lose $1,000 in one day? Hell no. Hell no, Don. I only got $5,000 in my account. Okay, and no, you couldn't, right? If you have $5,000 in your account and you lose $1,000, that would be 20% of the account. You can't do that. You're undercapitalized, which is one of the biggest mistakes traders make. New. And new maybe 3, 4, 5 years, been doing this sort of thing, and then they have to refund it. So you've got to be properly sized, right? So I just draw that out. And if that means that you've got to drop down to now the smallest increment you can go on, for instance, on the NASDAQ, is a micro. That's the smallest increment. And just because the brokerages will give you the intraday margin to hang yourself doesn't mean that you should use it. Because you could have $5,000 in your account and you could trade a mini NQ intraday. They'll give you the margin to do it, but but I don't think you should be doing that. Because you're just 1 or 2 trades from blowing your account out. Can't be doing that. You may have $100,000. You can have $100,000 or $250,000 in your account and still be undercapitalized, right? If you over leverage. So you got to learn to you got to learn to trade. You've got to learn to use the margin and the leverage appropriately. And it takes time. And we got to build on the confidence. All right, so Michael's asking a question. Sorry, Michael. Let me see if I can answer. I think it can help me. Does this come with a guide how to use it? And then, no, not at all. All right, so I think you might be referring to Swing Machine. All right, so let me, Michael, and you're welcome to call, but I'll go ahead and answer your question now. And because you had reached out the other day and I missed you, but let me just explain very succinctly who we are not. I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial advisor, right? So we don't make any claims. For 25 years, I taught surgeons how to do surgery. So I'm not from Wall Street and I'm not from Madison Avenue. Susan and I started algorithmically trading in the early 2000s. We couldn't have done it before. We were always involved in the markets, but we couldn't do it before because we didn't have the technology. But we did then. Stock Market Caddy was not even a glimmer in our eye. Was not. We were out to do it for ourselves. Stock Market Caddy came about in 2012, thereabouts, when Twitter was coming out of the ground. I said, I wonder if there are folks, Susan, like us. Stock Market Caddy just came about because, quite frankly, I was bored. The way that we trade is rather lonely and it can be kind of boring. And Stock Market Caddy was going to be another, just, something that interested me. And that's how it started. It started very modestly. I didn't know if there was anybody out there. And people started to sign up, and we started to grow, and that's what happened. That's where it is. Um, we have built tools, including Swing Machine, but we're in the process now of sending, and if Daniel's listening, Daniel, I'm working on sending you your files, um, close to 65 to 70 proprietary tools, trading tools. These are indicators, otherwise known as studies. They are strategies, trading robots. They are radars, all sorts of algorithmic tools to help you make decisions. For the swing trader, the option trader, going from day to day, week to week, you really want to be paying attention to the closing values. For that person, we offer a monthly membership, $100 a month. If you like it, you'll stay. If you don't, you won't. And that's it. It's just 100 month to month. And very, very rarely do we lose anyone. If you have the time, have the capital, have the passion, and you say, Don, I really want to have these tools on my desktop. Well, we have an annual membership, but before you become an annual member, you have to go through, and to answer this question, does this come with a how-to guide? Well, it comes with more than that, Michael, because you have to go through what we call a Q school. It's 3+ weeks. 3+ weeks. And you have to just do it once. And we're going to be with you for 1 to 2 hours, ideally a day. Now, if you're interested in that sort of thing, you have to call and talk to me, because we have to make sure that it's scheduled. We have to make sure that you have the time, that it is what you think it is, and whatnot, right? So sometimes it's a little bit beyond 3 weeks, but it has to be scheduled. And now you're not an annual member at this point. You are a monthly member, and you're going through Q School. The Q School is $3,000, but we're going to be together quite a bit, and we're going to be sending you these files to work with, and you're going to be working toward. We're going to help you set it up to answer the question of whether or not these tools work. If at the end of the 3+ weeks, at the end of that time, you've been successful, then you're going to want to become an annual member. Presumably. A little risk on our part, but maybe you say, no, you know what? We have had 1 or 2 people, not many. We had one person say, so I didn't realize it was this involved, and I don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, no problem. If you want to become an annual member, the annual membership is $4,000 a year. However, before you fall out of your chair, if you sign up as an annual, at the end of the Q School, we're going to give you $1,000 back. We're going to give you $1,000 back. And we're going to begin to send you all the files, and you're going to have them not for 12 months, but we're going to give you a baker's dozen. You're going to have them for 13 months. Now, you never have to go through the Q School again. If you decide not to become an annual member and you come back 2 or 3 months later and say, hey, I want to join as an annual, you still will welcome back, but there'd be no discount, because we know you're going to have to work that much harder to get up to speed, and we will too, to have to help you around the edges. Now, Q School doesn't continue that intensity. You will be off and running on your own. Now, you're still a monthly member, because you still want to be looking and learning the algos on a nightly basis, and it helps shape your intraday trading. It does. We also, as the year goes on, you may have our programs. You may want this. You may want that. You may have your own ideas, and we don't have a deadline in this, but we will offer our programming services, and there's no cost to that. The next year, the second year, the cost is no more Q School, but it's $3,500 a year. And we will give you 1 month free for every year you've been with us, up to 6. So the first year you get an extra month. The second year you get an extra 2 months. The fifth year it works out so that you get actually 6 months. So, yes, Michael, we have folks that have been with us for over 6 years, and their effective cost is 1750, which is pretty cool. I mean, so what's happening is the way we structured this is yes, it's an investment up front, but as you become more and more independent and more successful, the cost is going to go down, the value is going to go up, and you're going to become more, or the idea, more and more independent. And it works. And that's why we keep growing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I don't want anyone to think at all that we're presenting some sort of um, automatic money print. Um, Swing Machine certainly looks like that, right? It's like, oh shit. I mean, if I put that trade on at 835, I'd have 4 grand. Yeah, you would. But you're gonna have to learn, just like a flight control on a plane. That's the only way I can describe it. Can you flip a switch and have the plane fly itself? Yes. Does that mean that you're qualified to go buy a plane and fly it to the islands off of Cape Cod as John F. Kennedy did, Jr.? Imagine. That's what he did. He did it around this time of the year, right? He did it in July, and he was not yet instrument rated. And one of the things that happens off of Boston, and tragic, but the water is cold and the air is warm, and you get like this fog, you get this haze, and the islands weren't that far out. Ordinarily, you'd be able to see them, not that far out off of Boston, but he got out off the coast and he got stuck in the haze and he got vertigo. Can't tell up from down, God forbid, right? And now the panic sets in, and he doesn't know if he's going up, he doesn't know if he's going down. And God, what a horror show, right? And he crashes the plane. If he had his wits about him, he could have just flipped a switch and put it in autopilot and then radio and said, hey, get me the hell out of here. He was in the soup. Traders can do that. Get vertigo. Looking at too many charts. Can't tell up from down, down from up. They get some thought, some macro thought, some economic thought, some Trump tweet, some noise, and they start listening to their inner ear, and next thing you know, they're in the shit, they're in the soup. So we're going to hopefully help you to learn to trade by instruments. We talk about minimizing the emotions of fear and greed while maximizing your profit in your time. But it's a skill set. It really is. It is a skill set. And it has to be worked. It has to be worked. That's that. So hopefully I answered your question, Michael. I do have to break away. We need these resources. Thank you. We don't pester anybody. So if you want to become a monthly member, that's unlimited. Folks can join today, get your passcode, get you to the members website. You don't get full access, but you get a little access, and you get to see the nightly videos, you get to see some of the algos, and you get a little bit of an idea. And if you're an options trader, it's chock full of opportunities that you can glean. If you have an interest in getting these tools on your desktop, then you want to be looking at your calendar, you want to be going to a website, exploring the Q School, putting a pencil to it. Do you have the time? Do you have the resources? Do you have it? It's not inexpensive, but in the scheme of things, we think it's really, really good value, right? Really, really good value. We're going to be hopefully teaching you to trade your own bread as a business, becoming your own little hedge fund. And that's what we are. That's what it's about. All right. So thank you. I've got to break away. Thank you. we had two trades. The first trade was 1,000. Second trade we're at 172. 5 micros, 1,200 bucks. All right. So I don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. We're probably going to run the same thing. It's a program, HFT2. I'm probably going to tweak it a little bit, and then we'll punch up again. We'll either not be in a trade or we'll be in one, and then you can watch and see. But that's, it is what it is. And now we're also running these things, some of these things, 24 hours. You're very welcome, Michael. I noticed, Mike, your cell phone said you're in Florida. You have to let me know whereabouts. Keep your privacy on YouTube, but you have to let me know. And we're also in Florida. The accent is from Boston, but our home is Tampa Bay. And hot as blazes, right, Michael? I don't know where you are in Florida, but it's been one hot summer, man. I don't know. I don't remember quite the heat index doing what it's doing. It has cooled. It's taken a little break from last. Orlando. Okay, my brother's in Orlando. So it's been a hot one, but feel free, and I wish everyone the best. All right. So again, thank you, and we'll look for you to try to. We're trying to in the middle part of the day. It could be anywhere from 11 to 1. 11 to 1. Be looking for us in the middle part of the day. As we get into the fall, I don't know if I'll be able to keep that up because of Q School. We still have Q Schools now, but I'm trying to facilitate that so folks can see. And let me just show you too. Let's just, you're looking at intraday, but let me see if I can show you this here. Let me give you an example. I'm going to try. Let me go to SMC. I want Swing Machine Daily. Let's see here. S&P, that's sentiment. Bear with me. Because we can do this with stocks too, right? Oops. Yeah, all right. So here is, all right, I'm going to pull up Swing Machine. You're going to see it. It's the exact same tool, but it's on the S&P 500. Ready? Let's go. All right. So some of this writing here is blocked out because of I dressed this up courtesy of Zoom. All right. So here are the S&P 500 stocks. It's blue because it's for stocks, right? Now the profit and loss, is not a contract. It is shares, right? Because it's stocks. So what you want to know, so this says like PayPal, it's short. It's been short for 5 days. It's down 0.89% from the short price to where it is now. And if you had put in $10,000, let me just double check. I think I got this set at $10,000. Let's edit. Yeah, 10,000. So the purse is calculating off of $10,000. Now you may not be using 10,000. You may be using options, but I'm going to show you in a moment what you want to know. So out of the S&P 500, real time, August 6th at a 111, Don, can you show me how Swing Machine is positioned on all 500 stocks? And I can. So watch. Going to sort. I'm going to show you every single one of them. So the top stock here is this thing called Enphase. It's a short. It went short 212 days ago. If you had shorted it with $10,000, yes, you would be up 72%. You would have made $7,000. Now, maybe you used options. Maybe you were long Enphase and you saved yourself a 72% haircut. Here's Oracle, 64 days ago, one from the past. If you had bought it with Swing Machine at 147.70, you're up 71.94%, $7,000. So we're going to go through. I'm going to scroll down, watch the numbers on the side. How many stocks, long and short, is Swing Machine up out of 500? So here we go. And I don't have a macro, I don't have a bunch of unemployed brokers in Connecticut or whatever, giving me macro opinions on retail, on housing, on the Fed and all the bullshit. It's not necessary. It's never been necessary. But let's scroll down. So I'm going to have to keep going. So my Zoom thing, watch what happens. When it gets down the bottom, it's going to start rolling. So I'm going to scroll down until we see some negative, right? So you're seeing long and short signals, but these are up 19%, 71 days, some, a long time. So we're going to keep doing this though until we see some red on the percentage return. We'll keep going, keep going. Okay, we're only up 2-3% on some of these, right? Keep going, keep going. All right. So at this point, this one's down here, and then we start seeing the yellow ones. So out of 500 stocks, 393 are profitable. All right, so that's a little bit low. Usually we're in the 400s, right? So that's probably courtesy of Thursday and Friday. The yellow ones mean they're not. The entries are just going on right now, short and long. And then if we keep going down, you're going to see, all right, so now we get into some red ones, right? So out of 500 stocks, roughly 410 are either profitable or flat. And then these are the drawdowns. So he doesn't get every single one right. He doesn't. And let's scroll down and show you the worst performer is this one, LW, Lamb Weston, and he's down 11%. That's the worst. It is what it is. These are bad symbols here, so I'll have to take them off. So it's out of 492. So we're actually percentage-wise, we're probably doing a little better. I don't think I have any more stocks. Those are all bad symbols. So now, what Swing Machine is doing, which is extremely difficult for an individual trader, or certainly a stock pundit or someone on CNBC, is Swing Machine doesn't have an ego. He's not trying to be right. He just doesn't give a shit. And he will kick him out. If he's got to go short CNC, he's going to go short. He just doesn't give a shit. He's not trying to be right. The ego, and that's why I do, and I say, I am the most ignorant person in this market. I need to be. And I can do the same thing. Let's go to the NASDAQ 100. Here's the NASDAQ 100. Let's do the same thing here. 100 stocks. Who's the top stock? AMD. AMD. 61 days ago at 102 on May 9th. If you had put $10,000 into AMD, you'd be up 58% long. Now, if you had used options, and you know how to use options, you probably would have made a lot more than that. Now, there's a whole lot more information being given to you over here on how to manage these things, right? But here is Broadcom. So these are the and here's NVIDIA. Same thing, 63. So that's the chips. But, but AMD was getting its ass kicked, from 162 the last time, brought it all the way down. Then you get right back on your horse and do it again. This is how we do it. So let's take out the label row. There should be 100 stocks. How many stocks is Swing Machine profitable in? Let's go down and look. So they're long and short, but profitable. So you see the percentage is all green, right? Let's keep going. All right, so there's the yellow ones. So out of 100 stocks, approximately 80 to 81 are profitable. And then these are the drawdowns. And what is the worst one? Okay, we can't see 100 because of this, but we're looking at, 3-4% maybe. That's it. But Swing Machine will, if something happens to Old Dominion Freight and he's short and he starts to go long, Swing Machine will kick it out and take a loss. Glenn, I lost. Yeah, you will have losses, but Swing Machine won't stay wrong for long. It won't. It won't do it. And that's, as an example, Other tools, well, here's Pebble. Pebble Beach is something very specific. These are trade triggers on the entire S&P 500, and these triggers went off today. And they give you the entry price, they give you a stop, and now this is a modest amount of money, but most of our members are using options. But check it out. There are 19 signals, including a buy on Tesla. That would have been interesting. Got a buy at, what was the entry price? 312. 312. What was the stop? 303. Now it's up 8, 9. But, you could have made some money off of that. And so we have folks that like to trade options. And, they may trade futures, every day too. But then they may say, hey, I'm going to trade some options. Here's a buy on Amazon. A buy today at 216. It's delivered for, But every single signal here is profitable. Every single one. That's a beautiful thing. Also, as another example, so as an annual member, you get all of these. These are years in development, right? We used to use Pebble Beach, this trade generator before Swing Machine. It's doing something highly specific, and it's extremely good. And the ability to put this into TradeStation's radar screen, we can't do that any other place. Nobody else has it. Let's go to the options club. This is options. You want to trade options? Here's the S&P 500. It gives us the option trades, and it tells us you don't have to buy a call, but it tells us the suggested option configuration. So last night, for instance, here's one here. It said this would have been here last night. Buy a call on Veritex. It's up $9. Buy a call on T-Mobile. So not all of them have worked. This one hasn't, but we're trading options 30 to 45 days. We're not trading them like for intraday. We're not doing the tasty trade thing, right? That's they're fine for what they're doing, but that's not what we're doing. We're doing them for 30 to 45 days, and we're doing calls, put credit spreads, debit spreads, and iron condors. And then on the dark side, we get them over here. Again, algorithmic. So what we're not doing is we're not, and we throw this back, we're not hunting and pecking. We're not, going from screen to screen to screen. And we're not jumping in the plane at Teterboro and saying, oh yeah, it's a little late in the day, but you know what? I got the skill set. I got my retirement account. I got 100,000 in it. I'm gonna fly. I don't need that guy. I don't need any education. I'm just gonna fly the damn thing. How hard can this be? All right. Well, let me know how that works out. Let me know. I mean, if I had a nickel for every person that called me and said, Jesus, Don, Jesus, why didn't I see you before? Why didn't I? We had a gentleman call us. He had no trading experience. He was literally in tears. I was too, because when I showed him, especially when I showed him, I remember it goes back a couple years ago, and he got sold a bill of goods about shorting the VIX. The VIX, of all things, the VIX. Just short the VIX because the market goes up and up and up. Oh, okay, yeah. And the guy showed him on a chart. And the young kid, family, everything, he put $50,000 into a short VIX. And like 2 days later, the VIX shot up. Our signals were like long VIX, and he lost all 50 grand. He was down to like 5 grand. And I'm like, well, we would have been going the other way, but but I'm like, you can, if you have done that, you can get your money back. You can. And we've seen people do it and never look back. But you can't do the same shit. That's insanity. You have to stop. So it's the very definition of insanity. You don't want to keep doing the same thing. You've got to stop. The first thing you got to do is you got to stop. And you got to think, and you got to look around. Then you got to think some more. You got to look around, and you got to think. We have, I don't know, thousands of videos, thousands now at this point. I mean, we go all the way back to 2012. I mean, I wouldn't watch them all. We're not the same, right? We have evolved. We have learned, right? We've learned a ton. We try to share that with everybody, and to maximize your time. Have we had people fail? Yes. I think we have very high, our monthly memberships are very, very high retention. I measure our success for our annual is on the folks that renew. If they don't renew, I assume, well, maybe they didn't make the turn. Although almost everyone that does, some folks will say, well, my life has gotten into a place where I can't do it right now, but I'll be back, Don. So no, we've been very fortunate that way. But we have a very high annual retention. It hovers around 73, 74%. Monthly is like 90. It's very, very high. I'd like to see everything, 100, but that's not, probably realistic. I don't know. But in the end, it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what they do, because we have had members, some with no trading experience, come in, learn, do so well, they blew us away. They have. They have. And I've told the stories about some of them. And some of them, they're both, they're our biggest successes. I'll take a little bit of credit for their success, a little bit, but in the end, they did it. And then some of them, some of my biggest mistakes, because I didn't fully heed what it was they were doing. And so it happens, and it has happened. It is not a zero-sum game. I have had people, I had this mindset in the early 2000s. I always thought, like, well, if something's working and somebody has it, well, why would they share it with me? Well, one, you're paying for it as well, but the markets are so deep, right? It's not a zero-sum game. If someone comes in and has Swing Machine on their desktop, and they went long 10 contracts on the NQ at 835, and they have $40,000 in their account, and I didn't take the trade, that doesn't hurt me. I mean, how did it hurt me? It doesn't hurt me. They took the trade. Maybe another member did this with one micro contract, and he would be up maybe 400. Maybe another person did it with one micro and he made 100. Okay. Doesn't hurt me. What difference does it make? What you have to do, and that's why we built this around teaching folks to learn to trade their game. You do learn this out on the golf course. Doesn't matter. The guy sitting beside you, it doesn't matter what he's doing. It only matters what you're doing. Right? Remember Rory, in DeChambeau? Rory was out to win the Masters. He didn't give a shit what DeChambeau was doing. DeChambeau was probably a little, juvenile about it. Rory didn't talk to me. No shit. Rory was out to win the Masters. You got to play your game. Right? Michael, thanks for the question. I hope I helped. I do have to break away. We'll look for you all tomorrow, and we'll punch up. We're probably still going to be running HFT2. I'll make some tweaks. Any annual member within the sound of my voice, I hope you're getting it done. I don't pester anybody. Q School begins and ends. It has an official ending. I always want everyone to do well, but I don't pester people, right? I don't like, hey, what are you doing this week? I don't, I'm not that, but we're available. And if somebody needs help, or somebody needs something, or wants something, or these programs have timers, they have profit targets, they have all kinds of things. I wish we had a simple model for everything. But you know what? The truth of the matter is that's probably never going to happen because we keep learning to be able to do other things. And there's still, as crazy as this is, and it is crazy, we use TradeStation day in and day out. The bastards keep making more stuff. They do. They do. And we do too. We do too. It never stops. It just keeps getting better and better. And so, in any case, it's a blast. Thanks. Thanks for the question. I've got a break. Thank you.